So how many ways can you arrange two bricks? One which is colored red and other green. Basically two ways, and you can easily see that we are keeping one in front of the other. It's two patterns. And what if we are dealing with three bricks? Now the important thing to note is that the objects are distinct, as the objects have their own features. And so how can we arrange three bricks? One green, other red, and another one is blue. Basically you can keep the first brick a particular color as a reference point and arrange the two other bricks in two manners as we have already seen, which means that there are 6 ways of arranging three colored bricks. So there's a pattern emerging that for one brick, one way, two bricks, 1 times 2, and for three bricks it's 1 times 2 times 3, that is 6 ways. So basically a very interesting and beautiful pattern is emerging, and this can also be denoted as a factorial. That is, if there are 4 colored bricks, naturally the calculation will be 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, that is 24, which is called the 4 factorial. Naturally, for n distinct objects it will be n factorial. So note that 0 factorial is taken as 1. Now the important point, an interesting point, is that for 10 distinct objects it will be 10 factorial, which basically means that the 9th object can be denoted as 10 minus 1, the 8th object 10 minus 2, which basically means that the 9th can be denoted as n minus 1 and the 8th n minus 2, which also means that we can write the whole calculation as n minus 2 factorial times n minus 1 times 10. And also note that all the objects can also mean that they belong to a particular seat or a particular box, contained in the box. And suppose in this n objects we are only arranging r objects where r is less than n, and then we call it a permutation, that is NPR, which is n factorial by n minus r factorial. And here note the fact that it's the r objects which are getting arranged out of the total n objects, and in this arrangement, what if we are selecting those r objects out? That's what is called a combination, and that combination basically will be the permutation by the r factorial, that is NCR is equal to n factorial by n minus r factorial times 1 by r factorial. So note the fact that this 1 minus r factorial is denoting the r objects which are getting selected. Let's now apply this to a very interesting game, that is a tennis tournament where we are dealing with basically in the beginning singles, where there are 2 players, and if there are 10 players involved, then how many pairings are possible? Naturally it will be the NPR will be 10 factorial by 10 minus 2 factorial, which will be 90 pairings. But the interesting thing is that when we are saying it's 90 pairings, understand that in single tennis, the first serve is important. That is, if there are 2 players A and B, if A is given the first serve, then that game is considered distinct from the case where player B is given the first serve, which basically means that in the calculation we had to divide it by 2. So the pairings, the distinct pairings will not be 90, it will be 90 by 2, that is 45. So the distant pairings will be 45. So this can also be directly calculated by the combination method, of course. And we can extend the calculation of this mathematics, interesting mathematics, to doubles matches where we are dealing with a single match has 2 pairs, that is 4 players. So how many matches will this 45 pairs will be playing? Now here, interestingly, the n factorial is 8 because 2 pairs are taken as a single unit. So the total will be 28 matches. Now so what are the total games? That will be 45 times 28. But in doubles, two pairs are involved, which basically means that the total doubles matches will be 630. We can once again calculate the whole thing directly, because this 4 players in a single game, they can be divided into 2 teams in 3 different ways. I mean, if players A, B, C, D, we can see that they can be divided into 3 patterns. So it will be 10 factorial by 10 minus 4 factorial by times 1 by 4 factorial times 3, because we are arranging in 3 ways, so it will be 630